Good morning. Now I have decided to throw lights on one of the most important topic of the journalism field, that's called as techniques of feature writing. Feature is nothing but colorful presentation in the newspaper or magazine. Any publics, freelancers, students or anybody can contribute features to the newspaper office. There are a lot of difference between features and news story. Feature is colorful, feature is evergreen, feature is a kind of attractive part of the newspaper, feature is a kind of highlight of the newspaper. Feature means need not be presented in inverted pyramid style. News materials normally appears in the newspaper through inverted pyramid style, and that is headline, lead, body, etc. Normally sub-editor of newspaper highlights the most important part of the happening or event in the first para. Headline itself is a kind of guide, and there should be a kind of special link between the headline and the lead. Lead gives clear-cut answer, correct information to the readers community. Doubt should not arise in the minds of the readers after reading the lead. Lead is nothing but a kind of information about 5 W's and 1 H. 5 W's means what, when, where, why, who, how, etc. So this is the format of the news story. But feature completely differs from the news story, and the writer need not prepare the feature in the inverted pyramid style. Writer is absolutely free to take decision about the presentation of his idea in the form of everything under the sun of the newspaper is everything under the sky is the topic for anything can be the topic for the feature item, and publics are also eligible or permitted to contribute. News items normally are the responsibility of regular employees of a newspaper office, and but feature means there is no restriction like this. Anybody can forward his prepared colorful highlights to the editor of a newspaper for the publication. Normally magazines of like Sudha Taranga contains or 80% of the publications are the regular contributions of the publics, freelancers, students, etc. Feature is a kind of opportunity for the publics to express their talents in the form of writing. So feature writing is a kind of art. It's not so easy. It's not simply dumping certain information in the form of, it's colorful, it should be colorful, and writer has to be very particular about the presentation. And the most important step in the process of feature writing is selection of topic. And it may be the new topic, maybe the old one. There is no exact formula or definition for the selection of the news, and the writer is completely responsible. If a writer is creative, then it's very easy for him to make anything in the form of feature, and anything that may be household item, or that may be a kind of scientific or historical or innovative or informative, or maybe related to tourism place, about a newspaper, about a radio, about a particular program, whatever may be, or a flower, birds, animals, environment, etc., etc. So sky is the limit. So selection of the topic, if the selected topic is attractive, then it's very easy, logically he can continue. If the topic is relevant, editor also gives topmost priority. So that's why writer has to, or those who are dreaming of publication of his feature or materials in the newspaper, has to observe the newspapers and magazines thoroughly, and has to observe the policy of a newspaper thoroughly. Then only it's possible to select the most relevant, informative, educative and preserve-worthy topic. So that's why. So a topic selected for the preparation of a feature must be very attractive. That's the first thing in the process of publication of a feature. The next selection is over, then next collection of materials. That's a kind of field work, leg work. And here the writer has to study, has to collect detailed information, has to visit the library or internet, social media, or has to meet the subject experts in the form of interview, field work, photography, etc. So, collection or gathering of materials in connection with the proposed title, proposed idea. That's very, very important. And here writer has to think of, he has to study the pulse of the readers, expectation of the reader. So, accordingly, he has to gather detailed information, every minute information, details about the particular topic. So, that means that's why it's considered as a kind of valuable field work. Sometimes he has to refer the encyclopedia, dictionary, etc., for finding out the suitable word. Then next the step is presentation, and Gandhiji's principle, according to Gandhiji, simple living, high thinking, but in application to feature one should think of clear thinking, simple writing. Clarity of thought is very, very important. And first of all, mindset, mental preparation is very, very important for the presentation of idea in a very systematic manner. And input is okay, then automatically easily one can express the idea in the form of output. So that's why a battle in the mind is very, very important. Writer has to think about the placement, and the beginning is very, very important. Placement or presentation is nothing but a systematic arrangement of available material, and that's why writer is absolutely free, whether it is even if it is dialogue, when if it is an example or quotation, that depends upon the situation. There is no ready-made formula. Or so writer has to think of about the first part. First part should be attractive, interesting, creative, and if it is worth, then only reader may show interest to go through, or he may show interest to go read the detailed article or feature. Article means that even article and features are one and same, but article means very serious, feature means colorful, there is scope for imagination. Articles contains facts and figures, but writer is absolutely free to express or apply his imagination in the form of feature. So, feature writer, that's why has to think or has to give topmost care for the presentation of his idea in the form of, and normally it's like MC of a program, and writer has to narrate everything clearly in the form of feature. He has to add the opinion of the concerned expert in the middle, and he has to quote good number of examples, then only it will become more descriptive, colorful, etc. And pyramid style, ultimately feature writer has to conclude it in a very systematic manner. And in the next step, writer has to think of about good headline, then attractive headline like a news story. He has to think of about blurb, is nothing but a kind of summary of the feature. Then he has to think of about the suitable photos which explains the, or which demonstrates the presentation in a very effective manner, etc. And once this process is finalized, then writer has to select the most important platform for the publication of his feature. Innumerable magazines are there, newspapers are there, and like an advertiser, like a client, here also selection of the right material, right platform for the right publication, right feature is very, very important, because every paper has its own policy. For example, Deccan Herald Group in Karnataka gives topmost priority. Deccan Herald, in the sense its sister publications like Prajavani, Sudha, Mayura, etc. gives topmost priority for the features or materials related to the environment. That's its priority or its policy matter. So, if you have a feature on flower or environment related or a bird or animal, etc., then you can think of Deccan Herald Group. Or Vijayavani, for example, gives preference for some other, like that. Every paper has its own policy, and feature writer has to study the policy of a newspaper carefully. Then only take decision, then only decide about the process or forwarding your materials to the newspaper office. And it should be neatly written or handwritten or typed, and the photo should be attached along with the caption, and correspondence always should be done with the editor of a newspaper, and better to include or attach one self-addressed postcard for the confirmation about of the editor, or one can also forward it through the mail to the newspaper office. So with this I conclude this particular topic. Thank you one and all.